Welcome to the She Would Know podcast,
where curiosity meets expertise.
Welcome back to the She Would Know podcast. I'm Chelsea.
And I'm Shayna. And today we are talking with this week's know-it-all, Rachel Kraft, all about using breathwork and somatic techniques to manage anxiety around the holidays.
It's such a good one.
Yes. Sorry, a little thing popped up. Yeah, I mean, holiday season is upon us, and I know we're all feeling a little stressed. And Rachel has some very practical and easy to adopt techniques to help you feel a little bit better as you go about this holiday season.
Yeah, but before we get into that, let's do our brain dump for the week. How are you doing? What's new?
What's new with me is that I keep getting canceled, and not like social media canceled. I keep getting, I'm not that cool, but I keep getting canceled at work. I have worked like one time in the last 2 months, and I'm not on the schedule again for another 2 weeks. So
oh my gosh.
I know. And it's great because I'm so much happier when I don't have to work, but also I kind of need money.
Yeah. So what are you going to do about it?
I don't know. Like, I could choose, obviously, if I worked like Friday or Saturday, I would probably not get canceled as much because people don't want to work Friday and Saturdays. But that doesn't really work for our schedule right now. And I don't know. I think I'm going to give it usually picks up in the winter because people get sick, obviously. If you don't know, I'm a nurse. So I'm getting canceled for my nursing shifts at the hospital because of like a low census. But as people get more sick into the winter, I shouldn't get canceled as much, but we'll see.
We'll see. Best of luck.
Thank you. Next thing on my dump is, so I still have some Halloween decorations up. They're like these scary faces that I put in the windows. And my husband reminded me that on Google Maps, the scary faces are in the windows like of our house. It's just so funny. So, I mean, you can't see because I'm not going to tell you where I live, but if you know us, you can like look on Google. If you know me, you can look on Google Maps and you'll see the little scary faces on the
That
windows.
is so funny.
And it'll be there for like 10 more years until they do another mapping thing.
I love that.
I love it. And then the last thing on my dump is just a favorite of mine, a favorite product, and that is the Ilia Skin Tint. It is my favorite go-to foundation. I've been using it for, I want to say almost 2 years now, and it's a combination like skin tint and sunscreen, so I only have to use one thing, and I'm obsessed.
Okay, so like, do you pick the color that matches your skin, or does it like match to your skin?
No, you have to pick the color that matches, and I will say you do need to like go in person and like try a couple different sometimes because it does oxidize. But I'm obsessed.
Okay.
So
I've been using the Origins tinted moisturizer like literally since high school, and
wow.
I love it. My makeup routine is exactly the same as it was since the day I graduated high school.
That's amazing.
Yeah, the Origins tinted moisturizer, and it like changes to the color of your skin.
Oh.
And it has sunscreen. And the gold Maybelline mascara. Okay. And then I've used a few different eyeshadows over the years, but I really like the color Kitten Heel by, I don't know, my mom always buys it and just buys one for me too.
I love that.
Because I'm the youngest child.
Yes. I personally am very glad that my makeup routine is not the same as it was in high school.
I've always had a very minimal makeup routine.
Yeah, no, I had like black eyeliner like around my whole eyes. I found a picture of myself from because my uncle just passed away, and my aunt sent me a picture of me with him and my aunt, and it is so bad. I have no eyebrows and I look like a raccoon. And I'm like,
okay, I think we need to post pictures of us, both of us from high school, on our Instagram account. That would be so funny.
So bad. So yeah, I've changed over the years, and I'm grateful for it. But hopefully, the Ilia Skin Tint is here to stay.
Yeah,
because it's just so good.
Yeah, and hopefully they don't change it or anything.
Yeah, seriously. Oh, and it's clean, and I'm not too much of a clean girly, but you froze.
I just lost you. I think you said it was
hopefully
clean.
It's still recording me. But I like that it's a clean product.
Yeah.
Hello? Okay.
Okay, there you're back.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, what's on your dump?
Okay, I was listening to the radio the other day, and they were saying that Uber has created teen accounts, like teenager accounts.
I've seen that.
And I was curious to know your thoughts about this. If you had a teenager, would you let them take an Uber?
I don't know.
Yeah, I had a client who was an Uber driver. And I got to say, one of the coolest things about being a therapist is you can learn about so many different jobs. Because when people are stressed at work, and then they tell me all about their job. And I'm sure he would be glad about this because before you weren't allowed to take teenagers. But teenagers would sign up with their parents' accounts and like needing a ride to school or something like that. So I guess if you had to go to work early, but I don't know, it just still feels risky to me.
I don't know. I was actually an Uber driver for a little bit when I lived in Miami.
Really?
Because I couldn't have a job in nursing school, but like it was really expensive there, so I had to do something. So I would like take people to the club downtown Miami, and I'm like, I'm so glad you guys are gonna have fun. That is not my scene. And I don't know. It wasn't like, I mean, technically they were teenagers, but obviously, or young adults. I don't know. I mean, during the day, I don't think I would have a problem with it. But I also heard of, like, in Dubai, they have, like, female-only, like, driver services. And I feel like it was combined where you could, like, control who was going to pick you up. Type thing. Like, a nice grandma or a mom or something. I don't know. My mom drives her, like, DoorDash sometimes. So I feel like if I knew it was someone like her picking up my kid, then I would feel okay about it. But I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah. If you're listening, DM us your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
Okay. My next thing on my brain dump is I'm finding a new kitchen table. I hate my kitchen table and I'm over it. And I went to the Anthropology outlet and I found one that I absolutely love. And for the table, and then it had like 2 benches. I won't even say how much it was. It was too much money, so I'm not going to buy it. But
you can't.
I can't. It was beautiful, though.
I know, but your kids would just destroy it.
They will just destroy it. I know. Now I'm looking on Facebook Marketplace.
Or your husband. My husband is the one that destroyed our kitchen table. And I'm like, really? Really? Acetone. He was using acetone at my kitchen table. And so it took the stain off. And he's like, I didn't know. And I'm like,
yeah.
This is why women have to be in charge of everything. They know what acetone does.
Yeah. Okay, and then my last brain dump. I actually have like 5 things on here, but I don't want to take up too much time. I have a lot to say right now. A while ago, I quickly reviewed a bunch of different electrolyte drinks. I don't know if anybody remembers this.
Yes.
But I tried a new one. Relight. Have you tried it before?
Mm-mm. I still haven't tried any since all of that.
Okay, well, that's okay. Relight is one that's very popular with the like all the healthy influencers. And it's made by Redmond Salt. I don't know if you know who Redmond Salt is.
Yeah,
anyways,
I do.
I got the variety pack on Amazon and I tried the mango one today and it is salty. Very salty. And so I don't know. So the instructions said to make it with 16 to 20 ounces of water. And so I put it in a 16-ounce cup. And I feel like I could have tripled the amount of water I had with it.
That's a lot of water in the first place.
Yeah, usually instructions say like 8 ounces.
Yeah.
But I usually do like things watered down. But I will say this one was way saltier than any other one I have tried.
Okay, well, I'm going to stay far away from that one.
Yeah. So, I don't know. They say it has great ingredients and whatever, but I don't know. We need to have an expert on electrolytes to come on the podcast.
We should.
I have a lot of questions.
Oh, but speaking of, like, drink supplements thing, I used your Mixers code to buy myself some of, like, that metabolic balance, and I'm so excited. And I got that super roomy
their mixer thing is amazing.
It is so good. Their frother is like too good. I used it on my husband's chocolate milk and he got mad because it like all turned to foam.
Okay, and did you know if you click it twice, it goes to like a double mode? Yeah.
It's too much, but I'm super excited about the metabolic balance or whatever it's called. I'm obsessed And I got a discount.
Everyone use my discount code. We could
Chelsea 10, I think it is. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Chelsea 10.
Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes. But which flavor is your favorite?
I like the Brazilian limeade. I think the other one's orange, and I'm not a fan.
Yeah, it's like orange cream, and to me it just tastes like, an orange creamsicle.
Yeah, but weird orange creamsicle.
There is like a little bit of cinnamon in it, because like cinnamon's good for your blood sugar, so maybe that's...
I haven't noticed that.
What? I don't know.
But yeah, I do the Brazilian limeade, and then this might be... Oh, what's the word? Blasphemous. This might be blasphemous, but I mix it with the Better Days greens. Juicy lime. So I'm mixing. But I love Better Days also. I've been drinking them for like almost a year now. So I mix them together. And it makes a little limey, juicy deliciousness.
That sounds good.
It is. I'm a big fan. Anyways, that's our dump for the week. Sorry, went a little long. We do have a couple She Should Knows, and then we'll get into our interview.
Okay, I'll start with my good one. I sent this as what am I saying? It came up as a video on my For You page, and I was watching it, and then I sent it to Shayna, and she was like, you got to share this on the podcast. So Lululemon has a trade-in program, and you can trade in things that you've thrifted or bought on Poshmark or just bought on Facebook Marketplace for really cheap. Doesn't matter how old they are, and I've heard they're not very picky about the condition, but you get a $5 credit for shorts and skirts, a $10 credit for leggings, dresses, sweaters, hoodies, pants, and crops, a $10 credit for bags, or a $25 credit for outerwear.
And this is Lululemon specific items.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Returning Lululemon's things to the Lululemon store. It's called their Like New program. So if you can find some good deals on things, then you can get a good credit. Like if you find some cheap Lululemon, buy it, turn it in, get $10, and then do that a bunch of times. Then you can buy yourself a brand new pair of leggings.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to do that.
I know. Now I just always have to keep my eye out.
I once got one of my best thrift finds. Actually, not my best, but one of the good ones is I found a Lululemon like shirt at Goodwill for like $3. And I still wear it. It's a little dingy, but I still wear it. But one day I'll trade it in.
Okay, this is a little off topic, but I was at the thrift store and I got a pair of leggings that were the Sam's Club brand. And I love them. They're probably my most favorite leggings I've ever worn. They're like Members Mark brand.
That's amazing.
I don't have a Sam's Club membership, but if I did, I'd probably go and buy some more.
We can use my mother-in-law's.
We should go sometime.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, my She Should Know is just a pet peeve of mine that has to do with like TV. Sorry, let me start over. So my She Should Know, I remembered because I'm reading a book and a guy just like had a motorcycle accident and his heart stopped. And I don't even know how to introduce it. I'm having a hard time. Okay. My She Should Know is a pet peeve of mine as someone who works in the medical field. So like when you're watching Grey's Anatomy or you're reading a book or something and someone's heart stops and then they talk about shocking them to get their heartbeat back, that's not a thing. You can't shock someone if they don't have a heartbeat.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's not like when they go paddles, but there's not a heartbeat, that you can't actually do that in real life. So when someone doesn't have a heartbeat, it's called asystole, and you cannot shock asystole. They have to have some sort of rhythm. So what people do in order to get the rhythm back is they do CPR. So you have to do compressions until you have a rhythm on the monitor, and then you can shock it. So
okay,
if you're ever watching a show or if you're reading this book that I am, Just Friends, not Just Friends. Is it Just Friends? Oh, The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez. When he gets into, actually, I can't even tell you, that's a spoiler, but you can't shock them if they don't have a heartbeat. So keep that in mind. Anyways.
I mean, that makes sense. Like, you just can't, yeah. Okay. And that makes sense why the two go together, CPR and the AED. That's what it's called, right?
Yep.
Activate AED. Did you ever take that training?
Many times.
Of course you did. You're a nurse.
like lots and lots of times. Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's just good to know in real life.
Mm-hmm.
You would have to like do chest compressions to get the rhythm back. Anyways, that is our intro for today. We hope you enjoy today's interview.
Okay, let's jump into it.
Okay. Rachel Kraft is a trauma-informed breathwork facilitator and somatic coach. Her background includes a master's in social work, integrative somatic trauma therapy, somatic breathwork, and sound healing. She helps women ease anxiety, regulate their nervous systems, and build self-trust using a body-based healing approach. When she's not working, she loves to go to the beach, travel. Her next trip is to Germany, and hang out with her husband. Hi, Rachel. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, Shayna and Chelsea. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
We're really happy to have you. The first thing we always do with our guests to break the ice and just get to know you a little bit is to do some rapid fire questions. What is your favorite meal to make?
Ooh, spaghetti.
What's your favorite holiday?
It used to be New Year's. I'd say probably still New Year's. Yeah, New Year's.
What are 3 words you would use to describe yourself in high school?
Ooh, that's so funny. Athletic, kind, and silly.
Okay, finish the sentence. The way to my heart is...
Honesty.
What time do you wake up in the morning?
6:15.
What's the best compliment you've ever received?
The best compliment. Ooh, I had one person that like met me through social media, and then when they met me in person, they're like, "Oh my God, you're like exactly how you are." And I'm like, "Yeah, this is me." I guess just like authenticity, like when someone has met me and been like, "You have good energy and you're authentic."
Mm-hmm. I love that. What's one item you can't live without?
Probably my phone.
I think everybody has that answer.
Yeah. What do you enjoy doing in your alone time?
I love meditation and breath work. I love reading an interesting book. Also just something super simple like coloring, adult coloring books, like just like kind of super like relaxing, chill things.
And then last one, what's your favorite gas station snack?
Ooh. It definitely has to be something chocolate. I go chocolate over like sweet. So I wouldn't necessarily go for like Starburst or Skittles, but I would totally go for like probably like M&Ms right now. M&Ms.
I just got some chocolate at the gas station yesterday.
It's so good.
It's okay. Well, thank you. It's nice to get to know a little bit about you. Can you share more about yourself, where you're from?
Yeah, absolutely. That was so fun. I love those questions. Yeah, so I'm Ray or Rachel. I'm from Long Island, New York. So I live on the South Shore of Long Island, down at the beach, which is nice. I love it. I can, go for like a walk on the beach whenever I want, which is like very helpful for anxiety and stress and all that good stuff. So
the dream.
I really enjoy, just where I live. And then, I'm a somatic coach and breathwork facilitator.
Awesome. Can you share more about your journey to becoming a somatic coach and breathwork facilitator and what that is exactly?
Yes, I would love to. So about 8 years ago, I went to a yoga festival with one of my friends. And during that time in my life, I was really struggling with intense anxiety and grief. I had just lost somebody pretty close to me, and anxiety was always like part of my growing up, like young adulthood, like everything, childhood. I was always just like what I like to say, running a little hot and was just a little anxious. So it was always something that I was kind of like on the journey working with. And then when I went to this yoga festival, when I was really at like the height of my anxiety, I discovered breath work. And I was in like the middle of Vermont underneath a tent. It's like raining outside. You can hear the rain on the tent. It's kind of like magic. It really just felt incredible. And the way it works at these festivals is you have all these different classes that you can choose from, and you get to choose 3 that you can go to each day, and it's like a few days long. And so I read the description of this class. I'd never heard of it. It was called Radiant Love Breathwork. And I went to it, and it was like one of the first times that my mind actually quieted. My body was like so calm, but I also experienced like a big emotional release from all the grief and the anxiety that I was processing. And that moment was really the catalyst, because I had never heard of somatics before. I was just not aware of the connection that you could have to your body, and just experiencing what that was like. I used to have to drive like an hour and a half to go to like a breathwork class because it was just not a thing. Now I think it's maybe a little bit more accessible, which is great. And so I had no idea at that time that it would lead me to where I am now, but that was really the catalyst that brought me to becoming a coach and a facilitator.
Very cool. I honestly can't imagine my mind being quiet. That actually exists for some people.
I know. It was especially for if you like me ran a little hot and you had a bit of an anxious mind and just like a very loud mind. I was always trying to work with like a mindset approach, and I was doing my things that would help. I was trying yoga. I went to a yoga festival. I was like, I'm going to try yoga. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. I was exploring, but it really wasn't until I discovered breath work and somatic work afterwards that my mind was actually very, very calm. And I was like, oh, I can like observe my thoughts now. And oh, I know what the mind body is. And oh, I know what the voice of the body is. And all this whole world of things opened up to me.
That's amazing. So how does somatic coaching differ from like traditional methods, and how does the somatic and the breathwork go together?
Yeah, so somatic work, what I like to always say, a very kind of easy way to understand it, is soma. The word soma is part of the Greek origin, and it means body, and it means the whole living organism. So when you're working with somatic coaching, you're focusing on all aspects of the human experience, and that includes the body. So like the voice of the body, the wisdom of the body, and you may have heard of like this quote, like the issues are in the tissues. And they're talking about like the tissues of your body, and how we all have these lived experiences, over time. And even if our mind maybe even forgot about it or even processed it, our body still remembers. So using a somatic approach is really starting at the bottom of like literally the earth, like the bottom of your experience, like grounding yourself in this moment, connecting with maybe the earth or something that is like grounding bottom up, and then working up through the body, understanding what the experience is like to be in your body, and then working to the mind. The mind is also a huge part of any component that you're working with when it comes to like healing or overcoming anxiety or stress. And the somatic approach is just starting at the bottom and then working your way up. And then when it comes to breath work, I teach somatic breath work. So it's a body-based approach to connecting with your body through the breath. And what that allows you to do is really enter into like another state of consciousness, because you're so calm, and that breath will allow you to do that, and it quiets your mind. And then all those issues in the tissues are able to be released and healed, and you're able to move through them in a very safe, grounded way that feels empowering to you. It's your breath, it's your body. So it's really all at your pace in the form that I teach. But so that's somatics, and then how breathwork kind of works into that as well.
I love that. I went to my first breathwork class. We've done like deep breathing, but it was like a whole hour of breathwork maybe a few months ago. It was, online. It was probably a year ago because I wasn't pregnant then. And anyways, a year ago. And it was such a cool experience.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Really
There's so many different like styles out there too, so I'm always like an advocate for like, if breathwork interests you, just like go and try, a style that you can find and see if it resonates with you. And if it doesn't, you can always try another style.
Yeah, the style I tried, it was like loud music, intense breathing in and out. And she was like playing different instruments as we did it. It was really cool.
That sounds awesome. Did it have the same like overall objective of helping you like quiet your mind, even with all the loud music and everything going on?
Yeah, I felt like I couldn't think about anything because the music was so loud.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it was cool. I don't know. Ray, have you been to a class like that? I don't remember what kind it was.
Yeah, so, what's beautiful about breathwork is there's like so many different forms, and some include music as part of their practice, and some include sound, like something like sound healing. So I'm not sure exactly what form it was, but every facilitator has a different style. So, some might be playing super relaxing music, some might be playing super activating music. It just kind of depends. But I also have a background in sound healing, and I enjoy using the crystal quartz singing bowls. And it definitely is a somatic experience because when you're using the crystal bowls, our bodies are 80% water. And the sound of the bowls is a vibration, and each bowl is a different healing frequency. And it's able to heal and shift energy in your body because it is attracted and moves through water. So when you're doing like a sound healing experience, especially if you're combining it with breath work, you're going to feel those shifts. And it's all a somatic experience, even though it's, sound and it's our ears, it's actually the body that's experiencing it.
So cool.
What does that feel like? Can you explain the feeling? Because I'm trying to imagine it having absolutely zero context with any of this. And it's hard for me to kind of understand.
Absolutely, yeah. So I would love for you to experience it yourself if that you can really have the experience, because I love it. I'll speak for like what it feels like for me with sound specifically. Like I can actually feel like something in my body move. Like if there's like, for example, if I'm feeling like tension in my belly, I can actually feel from the sound, like that energy like break up and like move. Okay. And it can be like a felt feeling in the body. So think maybe like pins and needles, something like that, dissolve. Okay. Like it could be like a contraction in the throat, like a knot in your throat, and then it's not there from the sound. So I think it's a little bit different for everybody though. Yeah, depending on like what's coming up for you on that day and how your body needs to, move and receive.
Okay. Yes, I do want to experience that, because I would say that I am, what did you call it? A hot person.
You are a hot person.
Run a little hot. I run a little hot, and I would say I do have a lot of tension in my body. And so I'm just trying to imagine like how this could help me personally, but then also try to help our listeners or someone who has absolutely no context for this, how it would help them in their situation if they are the same. So thank you. We kind of want to aim this around like the holiday season, because the holidays can be a really stressful time for a lot of people, whether that's they have social anxiety or gift anxiety or whatever, just a stressful time, not being around family. So how can somatic practices help people manage anxiety during high stress times like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the holidays can be so stressful. We're being maybe pulled in so many different directions, and we're balancing so many different unique demands that are requested of us during the holiday season, and we're maybe even, celebrating, experiencing joy, getting like the best gift ever, Christmas morning. Maybe you're getting a puppy, like who knows? So there's such a wide range of emotions that can definitely add to stress. And when it comes to somatics, I think what's really helpful is that it allows you to have this other level and other connection of self-awareness that's very positive. And I think that's empowering. So when these moments are happening and you're feeling stressed or anxious, you have just a positive connection to your own experience with a mindful awareness that maybe you wouldn't have had otherwise. I think because of that, it also connects you to yourself just in a very safe way where you're going to feel more safe and embodied. And that definitely helps with stress and anxiety, because the sensation of anxiety in the body is super uncomfortable. And also because of that, it allows you to build the capacity to feel safe in feeling uncomfortable. And all of those things help to decrease anxiety and really create more space for positive or more higher vibrational feelings than as something that feels like uncomfortable and maybe a little bit sticky.
I love that. And not everyone is as connected to their bodies as we probably all should be, or some people aren't as good at noticing anxiety in their body. So what are some common signs of anxiety that someone might overlook, whether it's connected to the holidays or not?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think just to like kind of go off of your point there, I think it's super uncommon. Like I had no idea what the mind body connection was until I went to that breathwork class. Like I remember the first time I did a somatic practice, I was like, "What did you just ask me?" And because I was so used to just being in my mind, and I think a lot of us spend a lot of time in our minds, and sometimes it can take us out of the present moment. And this practice of coming back to the body helps us to stay more present and helps us to be more in our experience, which just leads to greater happiness and joy and freedom and all that good stuff. Some of the signs of anxiety, definitely like shortness of breath, feeling like you have pressure on your chest, racing thoughts. You could get like sweaty palms. It can also come out as maybe saying yes to everything, like having or boundaries because you don't want to upset somebody else, especially around the holidays. Like we tend to spread ourselves thin. And it can also show up as fatigue and stress. So we're experiencing all these symptoms of anxiety. We're spreading ourselves thin. Maybe we're over planning. And then we end up feeling kind of fatigue and stress and can lead to even burnout.
Yeah. Relatable.
And just be like, I'm so glad the holidays are over. I remember thinking that this year when Valentine's Day was coming up, I was like, I'm not ready for another holiday. None of that. I feel like I haven't recovered from Christmas and Thanksgiving yet. So how can breathwork be used to like ease this anxiety? Like, let's say if someone's at a family gathering or at a family event, like in the moment, they're feeling anxious. What are some breathwork things they could do?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like taking a break, like, stepping outside, getting fresh air, going for a walk. If you can't do that, like a little bathroom break, like I'm a big fan of breathwork in the bathroom, and depending on how anxious you are. I'm a big fan also of what I call the 2-1 breath. So it's inhaling twice through your nose and exhaling once through your mouth. And I actually just did it before I hopped on our call. You just kind of set your phone, you make like on the timer setting. If you put it on for 3 minutes, when that 3 minutes is up, it will ask you, it'll beep, and then it'll say like reset for another 3 minutes. So I like to do that because the first 3 minutes you do the active breath, and then the next 3 minutes you kind of like meditate and you're just like in the energy of doing that breath. So it's inhaling twice through your nose like this, and then exhaling through your mouth. And I like that one for anxiety. For me in particular, if you're just wanting to feel more grounded or shake up some energy, I like the activation of like the double breath and then like the sigh of like the of the second breath. So doing that for 3 minutes and then release the active breath and then kind of like meditate, be in your own energy, ground a little bit in those next 3 minutes.
That sounds so calming. I want to do that right now.
And can you elaborate what you're supposed to do when you meditate? Because I have no idea.
Yes, of course. So in this context, I would say really just be present with the sensations that you're feeling in your body. So for example, if you do this 2-1 breath for 3 minutes, you'll most likely be feeling like your hands will feel tingly, like you might feel pins and needles. You might feel like in your body some different sensations. So when you release that breath, just kind of like be present in that moment. Like just be with those sensations, be with the body, and just observe your experience. There's literally no like wrong way to do it. It's just kind of like just be present with yourself and observe how you're feeling.
Yeah, something that I tell my clients when I try to get them out of their head and into their body is like feel your butt in the chair, feel your shoes, your feet in your shoes, like just notice your body in space and like So a lot of times, like, we have our body, we're not always feeling it, but just remain like, what does my body feel like right now? What does it feel like to have a body? Like, we just kind of forget that. We just are so in our head, we don't even pay attention to our body a lot of the times.
So would that be considered a somatic practice? To be feeling your body? Okay. I think I'm getting it. So what are some somatic practices that people can help or use to help them stay grounded?
Yeah, great question. So I always like to suggest sound, breath, and movement. Those are the three things that I like to, kind of link it like as like a overview. So sounds can look like something like going to a sound healing, something that we were kind of talking about previously, but it can also look like listening to a specific audio. They have like different like beats on, YouTube and Spotify, different sound healing things you can, just listen to right on the internet. Or even you've maybe experienced this, like when you listen to a certain song, it makes you feel a certain way. You listen to an upbeat song and, it's going to want to dance around your room. You want to, do whatever you want to do. You listen to a song that makes you cry, and like you're going to be able to have an emotional release. So using sound in a way that will help you to feel the feeling that you're hoping to feel in that moment, whatever that might be. Sometimes it's helpful for processing sadness. And also it's helpful for like celebrating and dancing around your room. And then the second is breath. So, breath work, connecting with your breath, mindful breathing. This could look like a long, 60-minute session or something. And it can also look like doing the 2-1 breath in the bathroom for 6 minutes, so it can look different. And then the third is movement. So moving your body in a particular way. This one can look like intuitive movement, intuitive dance. It can look like laying on the floor of your room and just like letting your body feel supported from the ground to ground yourself. So I think you can use sound, breath, and movement in so many different ways depending on how you're hoping to feel. And definitely, if you're hoping to feel grounded with that intention, you can definitely do that using those three things.
I love that. And that's some very practical advice of like things, okay, think like sound, breath, movement. What can I do to do one of those things to like help the holiday stress not build up, or create a little routine that you do every day during December or something to just, I don't know, clean out the pipes a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, could you guide us through a simple breathwork technique? And then, our listeners could do it as well when they listen to this.
Yeah, absolutely. So the 2-1 breath is my favorite. And another one that I like is the blow breath, which is all through the mouth. And that looks and sounds like this. And the belly is snapping in as you're doing that.
Don't want to breathe into the mic. I'm waiting to listen.
Am I breathing in or breathing out?
So you're blowing through the mouth and the belly is coming in. So you could do it slow to start like you're blowing out a candle on a cake.
I think I know how to breathe correctly.
You're doing great.
Feels like my belly wants to go out. It takes practice.
So pretend like you're blowing out a candle on a cake and just do it once, like. And then when you do that the next time, let the belly come in. So the exhale is natural.
Okay.
I mean, the inhale, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, the inhale is natural.
Right? Yeah, inhale. Yeah, the inhale is natural.
All right.
And how long would someone do that?
So,
maybe you're about to tell us.
Yeah, so you can use it in a way that feels good for you. What I always like to do is maybe count to 30. I'll take a deep inhale, release, and then I'll repeat that maybe 5 times. So you kind of like can break it up in ways that would feel good for you. So maybe like a super easy place to start would be doing that breath for 30 times, 3 times.
So like 3 little sessions.
And then while you're doing that, I mean, obviously your mind is focusing on the breath, so not on other stuff. Anything else you would be kind of feeling or trying to experience but not think about while you're doing it? If that made sense.
I think that, yeah, no, it definitely made sense. I think what would be helpful is giving yourself a little structure to it. So setting the timer, maybe putting the timer on like 5 minutes, doing the 3 rounds of the breath. And then as that timer, once you're done with those 3 rounds, go back to that kind of like meditating, like what we talked about earlier, just being in your experience, being present. You can use some of those grounding or like somatic techniques of just being connected to like the support underneath you, your feet on the ground, this different sensations in your body. And then when the timer goes off, like release the breath and release the practice. So maybe just adding some structure to it would be helpful.
How do we reach the point where we have an emotional release like you did the first time?
I'm of the belief that like your body will release and have that experience when it needs to. And I think at that moment, I didn't even really need it. I was like really, really processing some big feels. And in the moment, it feels really good because you feel safe. It's not feeling like scary, like you're in full control the whole time. I find that those releases happen in a longer sessions, hour-long sessions, or even just like 10 minutes or more of active breathing are usually when I'm able to get to those places where you're just like deeper in the experience.
So for those type of sessions, are they always guided or do you do them on your own? I mean, I'm sure you can do it on your own, but for someone who's just starting out, what do you recommend to help them like work up to those longer sessions?
Yeah, so I also prefer like guided breath work when I'm looking for like an experience like that. I would prefer someone guiding me through it. I think it's like amazing. And all the facilitators that I've worked with, everyone's like a little bit different. So if I go to one, sometimes I have a different experience than when I go to another, which is great. That's kind of like the beauty of it. So I actually don't usually walk myself through those longer experiences because I like to feel safe and supported so I can like co-regulate with somebody while I'm going through anything that might be coming up for me. Not saying that you can't, but that's just my preference. And then for those shorter ones, like I love just making up little breath patterns and putting on my phone, putting on some music and like just kind of creating my own experience for the shorter ones, like the ones that we've talked about so far.
And if someone wanted to find a breathwork facilitator, is like a yoga studio the best place to do that? Or how would somebody find somebody?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I would start at like looking at yoga studios. They definitely will have connections to a breathwork facilitator. And then Instagram. That's where I found a lot of my resources for somatic coaching. And I found breathwork at a yoga festival. But aside from that, yeah. So I'd say yoga studios and Instagram.
Well, and you're a facilitator.
And
so
you do so many cool events.
Yeah. So
myself.
yeah, talk about yourself. Do you do virtual, online, like in person? What do you have any limits as far as who can take a class with you or session?
Yeah, so I am located in New York. So I do in-person classes like in my community. I also partner with, different communities online. So I'll do kind of like private group sessions for anybody that's interested in that. And then I also have a completely virtual practice for one-on-one sessions and then also like longer packages. So I've opened up my book, so to speak, for one-on-one sessions. So you just kind of go on my Instagram and you can find the link and then you can just kind of pick a time.
Okay. What's a virtual session like?
Yeah, so a virtual session is what I call a breathwork healing session, and it's 90 minutes, and it includes setting your intention, some somatic practices, and then a guided breathwork experience with time for you to integrate and reflect at the end. So it's awesome. It's super fun. It's totally tailored to like your intention and what you're looking to move through, whether that's stress, anxiety, the holidays, grief, sadness, shame, like the whole wide range of emotion and challenge, and also the good stuff too. If you're looking to like manifest and find joy and happiness and feel connected to your intuition and like all that juicy fun stuff too. So the whole wide range is accessible to you based on your intention.
Does the person ever feel like a sense of awkwardness, like just having you watch them breathe? Or like how would they, if they had anxiety around that, how would they navigate that?
It's a great question. I think I would hope in an ideal scenario that I'd be able to help them feel safe to be seen in that way. You know, it's not recorded or anything. And seeing the person breathe is helpful for just like the energetic component of it. And also to just make sure that they're safe and, you know, all is well on the other side of the screens. So it's definitely encouraged. I guess if they were to feel like uncertain, we would just workshop it. We would just work through it in that moment and find a way to make them feel comfortable.
And you do such a good job of that. Even just like talking in this session, I feel so calm just because your voice, like you just have such a great calming voice. I'm sure that really serves you well when you're facilitating.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So how can our listeners start incorporating somatic practices and breathwork in their daily lives? Like, do you have like daily somatic habits that you suggest other people adopt, or what does that look like on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, great question. Just last month, so earlier last month, I wanted to really get clear on like what my practices were. Like I kind of had this, I guess, belief or just like pattern where I was like, oh yeah, I do breath work like every day. Like I meditate every morning, you know? But then I was like, do I actually, or is it just like the thing that I think I do? And then I'm like, oh, I'm going to do it tomorrow. So, or like, am I actually doing it? So I wanted to get clear. So I just went online and I printed like a little habit tracker. It was like, you know, free. I made it myself. And I put maybe like 6 things on there. It was like drink 6 bottles of water, like breath work for 10 minutes, movement for 30 minutes, you know, and it was loose. It was like movement could look like anything. It could look like going for a walk or a bike ride or the gym or whatever it looked like. So it wasn't so much about having everything be perfect and like knowing everything that I was doing. It was more of just being honest with myself with like, what are my habits and am I showing up for myself? So I mention it because when it comes to incorporating breath work, it can be as simple as like stacking it with another habit that you already have. So if you already, you know, go to the gym in the morning or go for a walk or, you know, shower before work, stack it with a habit that you already have and make it super attainable. 5 minutes. Do the 2-1 breath for 2 minutes and then meditate for 2 minutes, which is 4 minutes technically. You know, like keep it super simple. Stack it with another habit that you already have. Don't aim for perfection. That's not what it's about. It's about how it's going to support you and make you feel and how it's going to serve you. And I'm a super big component, like big fan of doing these small little practices because I do believe that it compounds over time. I think that the 5 minutes you take to be with yourself and be connected to your breath is going to make a difference 5 minutes every day over time. That will change your nervous system. That will change how you handle anxiety, how you handle stress. It will absolutely, without a doubt. So making the time for you to even get that energy back. Create 5 minutes in your day, do the breath work, and see what it looks like in 30 days. Like you might not even, you know, recognize how much has shifted. And there's all sorts of resources out there too. You can find stuff on YouTube, Insight Timer. I like the Pause Breathwork app. And then I also have, you know, a freebie that you can download, and it's called How to Get Started on Your Own Breathwork Practice. And it comes, I think, with like 4 guided practices. So there's a bunch of like free, accessible stuff out there. People, you know, want to help other people. I'm a firm believer of that too. And breath work and meditation is definitely, a way to do that.
Yeah, we'll have to link your free resource in the show notes because I think a lot of people would be really interested in that.
I know I am.
Yeah.
So actually, I do have another question. What would you say is the biggest difference that you've noticed from like before you discovered this to now for yourself?
Yeah, I love this question. So my big thing that I've always been working through was anxiety. That was always, since I was very young. My first memory of anxiety is like 7 years old. And through all different like big transitions in my life, it would get kicked up, picked up, kicked up. And I mean, you're going to have transitions for your whole life. Like I will have many transitions if I, continue to live that I will be working through. And when in those moments when I'm feeling anxious, I now have a totally different toolkit, totally different vocabulary. I mentioned capacity, so totally different capacity to feel uncomfortable with, even if it's not anxiety, just any uncomfortable feeling emotion. Whereas before, I had the language around what I was experiencing of like, I would say I'm anxious. Like if I had any feeling, I'd be like, oh, I'm super anxious. I don't know what to do. I'm anxious. Like I had a basis of self-awareness around what my lived experience was, but now I just have a different connection to those moments and I'm able to handle it differently and come back to myself differently and really just be more self-compassionate. I think a lot of what we experience and when we're experiencing stress and anxiety, like it's so valid. Like a lot of it is just so human. So like having that level of self-compassion for yourself is just a total game changer.
That sounds amazing. Think I have a new goal?
You can try it out.
I'm going to try it out.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yes.
I'm the hippie amongst us, so I love this kind of stuff.
Very much so.
That's awesome. Is there anything else you want people to know about you or somatics or breathwork?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. This was super fun. I would just say, keep following like wherever, like whatever is pulling at you, whatever is guiding you, whatever is interesting to you. If this is something that you're struggling with, like keep trying new things. For me, it's breathwork and somatics and being in the body, but I'm a huge advocate for like, what feels good for you in your body, like what feels good for you. And it can take some time to figure that out. And so just keep trying the thing. Go to like a free class, like try something new, go to a class with a friend that maybe you wouldn't go to, but you want a buddy. So you go with your friend and just keep doing the thing.
That's awesome. That's great advice. Thank you so much for coming on.
Where can people find you?
Yeah, so you can connect with me on Instagram. I'm at Ray, R-A-E, the Somatic Coach. So at Ray, the Somatic Coach on Instagram.
Everybody go check her out.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was great. Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you so much.
Yes, thanks so much for being here today. We enjoyed this conversation and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of She Would Know. We would love to hear from you. If you have suggestions for topics and experts you would like to listen to, drop a line in the comments or connect with us on Instagram or TikTok at shewouldknow.podcast. If you'd like to support the podcast, please subscribe on Apple or Spotify and leave a review. We would like to give a special thanks to Adam Kump for our intro and outro music. And thank you for listening. Don't forget to stay curious, and we'll see you next week for a new episode.